Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're covering a topic that I haven't covered on the channel before, but have been watching for over a year for sure. And this is G4TV. And that is that G4TV has been hit with major layoffs less than a year after coming back. And of course, after the epic rant by Frosk that for all intents and purposes, most people see as completely derailing what little chances G4 had for any kind of comeback. So without further ado, let's get into the story. At least somewhere between 20 to 30 staff members were laid off at G4TV, according to three sources familiar with the business. The video game talk show network from the 2000s was resurrected last fall on streaming platforms like Twitch and cable TV, but now faces major upheaval less than a year later. Quote, "I truly cannot imagine the company continuing to produce our slate of content with the people we lost today. Timing and severity of the cuts took staff by surprise, with people showing up on set today ready to film only to have programming canceled and HR reps meet with individual employees." Three sources tell Kotaku that G4's finances have been in bad shape for some time, and that I can believe. And managers were tasked with looking for cost savings wherever possible. Things apparently came to a head during an all-hands meeting a couple of months ago when then G4 President Russell Aarons discussed the troubles the business was facing and proposed what were considered unrealistic revenue goals for the year ahead. The staff felt blindsided due to the fact that there were a lack of clear goals for measuring success up to that point. And that is also a failing of, well, the president and the leadership of G4. If you don't have goals, then you don't have something to work towards. What the hell are you even doing? Now, Aarons left shortly after and was replaced by Comcast CEO Joe Marsh, who sources say was only interested in finding ways to slash the budget. Of course, they were hemorrhaging money by this time. But what does this all come back to? Well, a lot of people blame this decline on Frosk and her rant about sexism in gaming. Now, nobody's saying that sexism in gaming is a good thing. That is not the issue here. The issue is that this rant was used as an excuse to cover what people considered were factual errors, and people had basically called out Frosk for that. And then she made the argument that a lot of people work together on these scripts and together on these shows, so it's never just one person, which the way she said it felt like she was shifting the blame to other people instead of accepting the blame. But in addition to that, she then goes into this rant about sexism in gaming. This is what I would call the classic double down. Now, let's get into first what the nature of the issue was, the potential factual error. Someone actually asked about this, and I found this little explanation on Reddit. I thought it was pretty good, so here goes. Also, there's quite a bit of people complaining that most of the criticism against her is because of misinformation, and I would agree that was the origin of the criticism against Frosk. Now, from those threads, it looks like she/G4 reported that Hogwarts game was an Xbox exclusive, which was incorrect. That means it was factually incorrect. It was wrong. She was wrong in reporting that. Now, was that her error or was that the error of some script writer? Who knows? This is the smallest, most inconsequential mistake to make. I agree. It's a tiny little thing, right? So, you know, what do you do when you have a mistake like that, right? This is an interesting part. Here, though, exclusivity contracts, especially when dealing with recent acquisitions, is incredibly complicated and rarely publicized ahead of official announcements. It tends to be some of the most confusing and contentious online argument because it's so uncertain much of the time. I agree. This is a small thing, was a small mistake. And is it really worth attacking her over? No. Is it worth calling her out over? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. You can call out a mistake someone makes. Why not? Now, using it as a launching pad for a personal attack? No, but using it to say, hey, this was factually incorrect, that's a legit criticism. And if you're on a TV or a show or just putting your voice out there and you get something wrong, you should be humble when you get it wrong. Or if the reality is confusing and muddled at best, then you should be willing to accept that. But these woke people never accept responsibility. There was an option here for Frosk to simply say, we work really hard to try and provide you with factual information, and we may have got this one wrong. It's confusing at best, so apologies. We always try to provide the most factual information we can in an entertaining way, and if we get it wrong, we're sorry. And that would have been the end of it. This would have been dead and buried. Nothing would have ever become of this. This would have been a footnote. If even that, nobody probably would have ever remembered this. But what happened instead is Frosk used it as an opportunity for the double down. The double down says, even though I reported something factually incorrect, I'm going to insist that I'm right, or I'm going to shift the blame to something else. And that became the strategy, shifting the blame. Now I'm going to blame anyone who criticized me making that mistake. I'm going to blame them and claim that they are sexist. And then I'm going to go into this rant about sexism in gaming and use that as my shield. Nobody endorses sexism in gaming. Nobody thinks sexism is a good thing. But in this case, it's really, in my opinion, she used this as a shield so that she could claim something and use basically a generalization fallacy to group everybody who was complaining about this factual error into, a group of people who, well, generally nobody would support. She basically, using the name calling. This is a combination of generalization fallacy. Everybody who disagrees with me is this, and also ad hominem. I'm going to call them something detestable, right? So that basically nobody would support them. And I'm going to create this as, I'm going to couch this as something else entirely and shift that blame. So obviously, originally, a bunch of people rushed to her side and supported her sexism in gaming rant. But of course, they missed the point where she was using this as a cover, using generalization fallacy and using ad hominem to cover her mistakes instead of simply accepting responsibility. But that is another hallmark of, well, Frosk in particular, but these, woke crowd in general. This is the tactic they always take. And of course, from there, let's not forget that the other people on this show aren't exactly the best group. They are hyper-partisan, hyper-political, which is why Frosk chose to take this approach, because she felt safe in basically politicizing this and making everything divisive and trying to lump anyone who criticized her in any way in with this group of reprehensible people, however many they actually were. I mean, either way, lumping everyone together and saying everyone who disagrees with, my claim about Hogwarts being an exclusive or not is an ist or a phobe of some sort. That's never going to go over well. And of course, we can see that Adam Sessler is sort of the same ilk. He says really stupid things on, Twitter, as a lot of people obviously do. I'm sure I've said stupid stuff on Twitter, but, well, I've never wished for people's existence to come to an end on Twitter. And I've never wished for my family members' existence to come to an end on Twitter simply because they cast a vote for something that I didn't agree with. So you can see there's definitely reprehensible people running the show, or pretty high up in the show at G4. And from there, obviously, this devolved rather quickly into G4 losing lots of subscriptions following this rant, and appropriately so. Like I said, the option here was to apologize for getting something factually incorrect or for reporting on something before it's factually clear. That was all she had to do, but that is not within her character. It is not within who she is as a person. Whatever. What can you say? This is who she is. Now, at the end of the day, this is something also I agree with. Using this as a justification for attacking someone or a channel is pathetic and transparent. And it absolutely is, no matter which side you exist on in this argument. If you think it was Frost is right about sexism in gaming, okay, well, that there is sexism in gaming. But that doesn't make everyone in gaming sexist. And also that doesn't make everyone who disagreed with an factual error she made sexist. And to group them together or to attack them, not to comment on it and actually provide commentary like this, but to attack them and make it an ad hominem attack or something like that, that is extremely pathetic, and it is extremely transparent what you are doing in that case. So this is how I see it, right? Others might see it as, you know, she was right, and people were attacking her, and that is pathetic and transparent. And I agree with that as well. If there was someone who was in that 1% or however many people it actually was who were being sexist and were attacking her, you know, with ad hominem or personal attacks, not debating the facts, but just using this as an excuse to attack her, then that also is pathetic and transparent. That cuts both ways, and we know and we saw what she did. Unfortunately, when you are working for a company, attacking your fans never plays out the way you think it will. At best, you're going to alienate a significant portion of your market. And in the worst case scenario, it can cost you everything. G4 has finally hidden the Frosk rant on the same day the president left the network. You're about 8 months too late, guys. And 100% agreed, and I liked this tweet. This is, in fact, what it did cost them. It cost them everything. But let me know your thoughts on this topic in the comments below. What do you think about the rant? What do you think about, you know, what do you think was really going on here? Let me know your thoughts. In the meantime, if you want to continue to smash the narrative, then smash the like, subscribe, and share buttons, and I will see you in the next video. Have a great day.